Hey everyone, I'm Cecil, and I just wanted to take the time to sit down and make this hopefully quick video about headlines regarding Black Lives Matter. And I've been wanting to do something like this for years. This is my first time making a video about this kind of thing, and I haven't done it just out of fear of my friends just thinking, oh my god, here we go again with Cecil being super political. But this is obviously very important to me, and here we are with these headlines again, and I know that half the country is thinking, whatever, oh my god, here we go again with this contrived liberal media BS cause, there's nothing here, what is this, it's probably even timed politically, if you know what I mean. But there is something there. There is an issue, whether or not you agree with that movement or not, there is an issue that needs to be addressed, and I acknowledge that, the whole Black Lives Matter movement, if you will, is somewhat mismanaged, somewhat mishandled. It's not really managed at all, which is kind of the inherent problem. But it's based on its core merits. There is something there that needs to be discussed, and it's real. And I wanted to talk about that, and I wanted to make a couple of points, about 3 or 4, that I don't really see being addressed in the media, that I think will make a lot of people who just write this whole thing off maybe have second thought. Not change your mind, but have a second thought. And so that being said, also, I would love to see this not just being shared amongst liberal friends and all a bunch of liberal news feeds. I don't want to preach to the choir. I would love to see this on some kind of, Breitbart Media, or with Ann Coulter, Newsmax, or Fox News blog. I want to talk to people who don't already agree that there's something here that needs to be done. And so the first point I wanted to make is just address the media, and I'll try to make this quick. The one little tiny point I'll make about the media is, at least formerly, the headline that I used to see used to anger me so much, because I think it was done so incorrectly, was the whole white police officer shoots or kills black civilian. The point is that African Americans and blacks in general are generally mistreated and mishandled at a higher rate than other races. But the point is not that the police officer was white. It's just not. And to me, when you make that headline, it completely turns people off to something that does exist and does need to be discussed. It's wrong to do that, because then the people who really need to hear it just won't hear it, and I can't blame you, and so I think that needs to be fixed. And luckily, as of late, I've not seen that headline right in bold letters anymore lately, and I'm glad that's happening. But I wanted to just address that and say that I don't agree with that headline. I think it's wrong. I think the point, yes, it actually is that a black person is targeted unfairly, or just at a higher rate, but not that there's some kind of opposing race. That's not the point. And we all know from the 70s through the early 90s that black officers themselves could mishandle and mistreat other blacks even more harshly than their Caucasian counterparts, if you will. And that was maybe because they were overcompensating for being some of the first people on their police forces in whatever state, city, or community they were in. That happens, okay? That's point number 1. Media kind of does drop the ball sometimes with this, the liberal media, if you will. I'll even say it. And second point I wanted to really make was that I don't think, and I think most of my peers don't think, as my conservative friends would think that we think, that when it comes to law enforcement and sometimes just life in general, that these police officers are making some kind of conscious decision that is to say, you are black and therefore I will treat you differently. I don't believe that's what's happening in every case, and I know that most of my peers don't believe that's what's happening in every case. What's really happening is kind of a subconscious, very human nature reaction to somebody that is different and doesn't look like you. I think it happens, and we all, I think, can agree that, generally speaking, even if we all have the purest intentions, we do treat and react to people differently that are not part of our own groups, our immediate communities, and our immediate group of friends. We react differently to people that don't look like us and subscribe to the same belief systems that we have. That happens, and police officers are human too. They're no different once they put that uniform on. So, I do think that there is a difference in their reaction when encountering maybe perhaps a more threatening, big, dark figure. I think that's real, and we need to address that is real. Now, that doesn't mean that because it's human nature and it's kind of inherent and non-malicious that we can't do something about it. To me, there just needs to be a discussion around that, and perhaps training around checking yourself when you're law enforcement and encountering somebody that doesn't look like yourself or subscribe to the same pattern of behavior, okay? And that's a real issue, and I'll parallel that to real life situations I've had in my life that I'll even bring them up from this week. You know, real life situation that is a parallel. You know, earlier this week, lady drops her phone on the ground. She's got a lot of groceries. I usually do think twice about picking up somebody else's phone. Why? Because maybe we don't need to go into that, but you can probably figure it out. But I thought this one time it'd be okay. She had a lot of things in her hand, she dropped her phone, and I thought, I'll be the gentleman, pick it up and grab it for her and get it to her. Her reaction to see me reaching down for that very expensive smartphone was to drop her things and get there to that phone before I did. Do I really think that that lady's racist? No. I think that that lady really just had a reaction that was just, you know, deeply built inside whatever logic system she's built, that subconsciously just made her believe that maybe I was up to something nefarious and that she wouldn't get that phone back if I got my hands on it. You know, that's human nature. It's not fair, but it happens. Now parallel that back into, you know, law enforcement. Do I think that police officers maybe kind of have that same subconscious thought process? Yes, it's real, it exists, and we can do something about it, perhaps. Okay, and I think those are the 2 points I really wanted to make that I don't hear addressed. Just the difference between thinking that all these police officers are racist versus just knowing that there's just a difference in the reactions and it's unfair. And we as a community, believe me, I will say, even as a liberal, we need to stop being PC, and we do need to discuss the issues and the outward image that we project to the rest of the world. There are issues that we need to fix, that we really need to actively work on and finally talk about and admit to. We really do. But on the flip side, and maybe third point, is that while we work on this and make progress within ourselves and our community to better ourselves, we can't then also have institutional attributes that seriously impede that progress. And they're there and they're real. And whether or not, you know, our political elected officials know that there are policies in place that do this or not, they are there. I can tell you in my shoes and in my daily life experience that there are some things that we can do that, you know, just don't impede the progress that we need to make. And I think, you know, I'll just wrap it up and leave it there. I'd love to see a real civil discussion around this. I'd love to see that no one's name calling or dropping any, you know, inflammatory statements. Let's have real discussions and not just try to, you know, point fingers and just retreat to each other's corners. It's time for this country to have real, non-inflammatory discussions around these things and really come to these discussions with an open mind. And with that said, I hope I presented something that maybe didn't change your mind, but just kind of produced a new thought bubble and made you say, Anyway, that's it. That's my opinion. And anyway, good luck to everyone and have a great week.